Monday, April 7th, council meeting to order. And I'd like to explain the disaster drill and procedure. If it would be a tornado, we would go downstairs and across from where you pay your sewer bill. And if it was a fire, we would go outside and gather together outside. Orderly conduct. Thank you. I'd like to remind you that since the meetings are being videotaped, it's important that everyone speak directly into a microphone when speaking. And we'll start with the roll call of alderpersons. Garrett?
Alderperson Whitaker. Alderperson Schneider.
Here.
Alderperson Duco.
Here.
Alderperson Arrows. Thank you. Alderperson Randall.
Here.
Alderperson Ferguson.
Here.
Alderperson Anthony.
Here.
Alderperson Ovian.
Here.
Alderperson Dintelman.
Here.
Alderperson Schaefer.
Here.
Alderperson Steele.
Here.
Alderperson Rothweiler.
Here.
Alderperson Elmore.
Here.
Alderperson Wygant.
Here.
Alderperson Sullivan.
Here.
Alderperson Ostoff. Alderpersons Arrows and Ostoff are excused. You have a quorum, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Now could we read department heads?
City Treasurer Bierman. Here. City Attorney Horner, present. Police Chief Matt Eiskamp.
Here.
Fire Chief Stephanie Mills. Finance Director Jamie Matrit. Here. Director of Public Works Jason Poole.
Here.
Director of Wastewater Randy Smith.
Here.
Director of Library Leander Spearman.
Here.
Director of IT Ty Buckner. City Engineer Scott Sager.
Here.
Director of Health, Housing and Building Scott Tyler.
Present.
Director of Economic Development, Planning and Zoning Clifford Cross.
Present.
Director of Human Resources William Clay.
Present.
Director of Maintenance Mike Schaefer.
Here.
Fire Chief Mills and Director of IT Buckner are excused, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, tonight we do have public hearing. Jamie, would you like to talk about our public hearing regarding the proposed annual budget?
Mayor, just open it up to the public.
Okay. Okay, this is a public hearing regarding the proposed annual City of Belleville budget for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2025 and ending on April 30th, 2026. Do we have anyone from the audience that would like to speak to this? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on. Let's go for presentations, recognitions, and appointments. Oh, public participation, that's right. I just said public participation. Okay, now we go to the real public participation, 3 minutes each. So Lee, could you get the timer up? Is there anyone here who would like to speak during public participation? Okay, thank you, Mr. Rothweiler. And if you step out as a private citizen?
The timer isn't up yet.
Oh, wait, we don't have the timer up yet?
I don't think I'll take 3 minutes. I think we're okay. I don't think I'll take 3 minutes. I'm Chris Rothweiler, Ward 6, and Alderperson Ward 6. And I wanted to present to the fire department something this evening. My father passed away last December, almost made 92, 2 days shy of it. And I went through his things, and I found some things in his stuff. One of them is a picture of the Belleville Fire Department from 1929. He was friends with the firefighters. He was born in 32, but he was friends with the firefighters in the 30s and 40s. He lived on West C Street. So I thought maybe the fire department would like to have this. I only had 2 engine houses at the time, and I hope we don't have these trucks anymore. But anyway, if Assistant Chief Mojay would come up, present him with this. And I didn't count the number of firefighters, but I'm sure we have a lot more now. So that's for you guys for your public. All right, I hope it works out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, any more for public participation? Yes.
This is in reference to
Oh, state your name and address,
Gary
please.
Johnston, 2622 West Boulevard.
This is in reference to the zoning variance to O'Connellsville Road. The purpose of zoning is to keep property values consistent and keep the area conforming. On your variance application, it specifically asks, do the conditions of this property, which necessitate the variance request, exist as a result of the applicant's action? And the answer is yes. Describe the effect the variance, if granted, would have on the character of the neighborhood. Based on the history, we already know what that'll look like. His business application had on it, he would have 2 employees and need only 6 parking spaces. He would do quick lube type service. He also had in writing specifically no outdoor storage. What good is a business application if you don't have to follow it? The renter is not currently compliant with zoning and has not been for a while. He has not been compliant since the last time we were here and unanimously turned him down. He currently has cars sitting on his lot with no license plates that have been there nearly 3 months and still parks in the grass. If granted, how would this be policed? If you grant this, you've created an unpoliceable situation. He already has been defiant and does not comply. What makes you think he will police himself? Why does he need 30 days for cars to sit around? I did speak to Offenburg Service Department and Knepper Garage. They said 1 to 2 days is normal, a week kind of max. I did speak to Al's Automotive and the manager at AutoZone, and they said parts are readily available now. If you let him gravel the property, water will for sure drain towards my building. The current lay of the land tilts towards mine, and his property's landlocked in the back. All these buildings were built hand in hand with the city of Belleville and the engineers to make sure water flows consistently. He will now have cars sitting in the back there for an extended period of time, leaking fluids like transmission fluid, oil, antifreeze, and battery acid. Now that will be going on our property during the water flow. If this happens to get approved, it needs to be professionally engineered, come up with a plan to make sure there's no additional water and no contamination that ends up on my property. We have already had to hire an attorney based on trespassing, nuisance, and battery acid spill. If most, if not all, these neighbors are not in favor of this variance, I hope you vote no.
Thank you so much. Anyone else for public participation? Yes, sir.
My name's Kenworth Johnston, 6215 LL Road, Waterville, Illinois. I am part owner of a neighboring property from that same property, 2339 Old Council Road. And I'm also a real estate appraiser, so I'm in no form giving an estimate of value here. I have to disclose that or anything. Just kind of wanted to voice my opinion on, the purpose of zoning is for the properties to conform in a certain area to certain standards. And if you guys decide on this property to let them gravel and leave 20 cars parked in the back area, it is going to look bad and have a negative effect on the surrounding properties. So, in my opinion, that's in my opinion. There are other shops around the area that had to buy larger lots, blacktop their parking lot, and put fences up in order to keep the cars hidden. So I don't feel that it's right to let this person get away with doing what they're doing. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more public participation? Yes, sir. Come forward, please.
My name is Mark Crass, 2256 Hampshire Drive. This is in accordance to the variance of 2339 Collinsville Road. I'd like to express my strong concern and opposition regarding the variance currently under consideration that allowed tenant of the property to park additional derelict vehicles on site. Over the past 7 years, I've made significant investments to maintain and improve Cardinal Car Wash with the goal of providing a clean, safe, and welcoming environment for our customers and contributing positively to the surrounding community. These improvements includes upgraded lighting, a resurfaced asphalt, new signage, installation of an ice vending machine for customers' convenience, and substantial infrastructural upgrades, such as a new roof, heated ice melt system, and major electrical work. These enhancements, many of which are not visible to the public, represent several hundred thousands of dollars of investment. Allowing the property across the road to resemble a junkyard by accommodating additional derelict vehicles will only worsen this trend. It is not only diminishes aesthetical appeal of the area, but also poses safety concerns for customers and residents. We've already noticed an increase in transient activity in the area, and adding more abandoned vehicles may further attract individuals seeking temporary shelter or unsecured items. Additionally, I've received several inquiries from community members expressing concerns about potential safety hazards of 2339 Old Collinsville Road. These include questions about the use of outdoor car lifts and the absences of windows in garage doors, conditions that may present safety and liability issues. I respectfully urge the zoning board to deny this variance request and instead work toward improving the overall appearance, safety, and value of this corridor. If this downward trend continues, I fear it will lead to increased vacancies and undesirable conversions of commercial properties, an outcome that no one wants for Belleville. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any more? Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Kirti Patel, and I'm talking about 2339 Old Collison Road. My concern is just not make it look like a junkyard or something like that. Just if he has whatever parking permit you guys give him, have him right placed and have a proper paving on it instead of having concrete and all this other stuff. That's all I need to say.
Thank you so much. Anyone else for public participation? Hearing none, we will move on. So tonight, I would like to recognize the character word of the month, which is cooperation, and that means working together in a peaceful way. So hopefully, we will continue to be doing that. I want to congratulate Jenny Meyer on her appointment as mayor on the voting, and all of the people that worked with her. And I will promise you, there will be a good transition, and that is all part of cooperation. So I want to thank all of you. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Okay, and now I'd like to recommend the reappointments of Christina Schmiedling and Chet Bretzweiser to serve a one-year term on the Historic Preservation Commission.
Schaefer, so moved.
Second?
Schneider.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Chet, I know you're here tonight. Is Christina here? Would you like to stand and be recognized for your service? Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate it. And now I'd like to recommend the reappointment of Tom Dingus to serve a 2-year term on the Police Pension Board.
Steele, so moved.
Thank
Schaefer,
you.
second.
Thank you. Is Mr. Tom here tonight? I haven't seen him. I think some of you probably know Tom. He's been around for a while. So all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries, and we will now move on to the approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes of March 17th, 2025.
Schneider, Schaefer, second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now, under claims, payrolls, and disbursements. A motion to approve claims and disbursements in the amount of $12,498,320.47. Payroll in the amount of $1,014,454.47 and $1,025,360.37.
Whitaker, so moved.
Thank you.
Schaefer, second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes,
Yes.
I would like Jamie to explain why it's $12 million.
Okay, Jamie?
Yeah, as you can see in your claims packet, there's a check to St. Clair County for about $9 million of that. That was for the 50% surplus for TIF 3 that has to be declared and sent back to the county.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamie. So, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Whitaker.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Duco.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Ferguson.
Aye.
Anthony. Aye. Ovian.
Aye.
Dintelman.
Aye.
Schaefer.
Aye.
Steele.
Aye.
Rothweiler.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Weigant. Aye. Sullivan.
Aye.
Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now No reports this evening? Oral reports from the standing committees?
Yes, I think you need to start with streets and grades.
Yeah, streets and grades with Alderperson Randall.
Thank you, Mayor. Any objection to reading these two together, folks?
No.
Very good, thank you so much. 11A1 is a motion to approve Oates Associates in the amount of $95,000 for construction inspection of West Washington Street improvements. This is coming out of TIF 3. And 11A2, a motion to approve Lockmiller Group in the amount of $15,453.96 for additional reviews, design time, and added environmental review for cultural resources and historic preservation not included in the original scope for the downtown resurfacing design, and we're using ARPA funds here. So moved.
Schneider.
Thank you. Any discussion on these two motions? Hearing none, roll call?
Schneider?
Yes.
Duco?
Aye.
Randall?
Aye.
Ferguson?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
Ovian?
Aye.
Dillman?
Aye.
Schaefer?
Aye.
Steele?
Aye.
Rothweiler?
Aye.
Elmore?
Aye.
Wygant?
Aye.
Sullivan?
Aye.
Whitaker?
Aye.
Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now, Garrett, will you please read the motions from the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Would you like me to read any or all of them together?
B5 separate.
And I think there's one on
So I'll read the first four together.
B3 and B5, please.
B3 and
separately.
B5.
B3 and B5. Okay, so I'll begin with 11B103, March 25, Daniel Comrie, request for a special use permit to construct a metal building exceeding 150 square feet at 1534-1536 Lebanon Avenue, 08-14.0-300-009, located in an A1 single-family residence district. Applicable sections of the zoning code, 162.094, 162.515, Ward 1. Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with a vote of 4-0. 11B2, 04, March 25, Timothy Richards, Belleville Elks Lodge 481, request for a special use permit to establish and operate a club/lodge and a Class A liquor license at 30 East Main Street, 08-21.0-445-022, located in the C2 Heavy Commercial District. Applicable sections of the zoning code, 162.248, 162.515, Ward 6. Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval in the name of the applicant only with a vote of 4-0. 11B4, 06, March 25, City of Belleville, request for a sign installation permit in the area of special control at 123 North Church Street /220 East B Street, 08-22.0-328-009, 011, 012, located in the C2 Heavy Commercial District. Applicable sections of the zoning code, 155.052, 155.053, 155.090, Ward 2. Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with a vote of 4-0.
Okay. Second? Or motion?
Ferguson.
Okay.
Schaefer, second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, and then we'll go on to 11B3, Garrett.
11B3, 05, March 25, Straight Up Solar / Poor Clare Sisters Monastery. Request for a special use permit for a solar farm energy system at 300 North 60th Street, 08-07.0-106-004, located in an A2 two-family district. Applicable sections of the zoning code, 162.169, 162.430, 162.515, Ward 4. Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with a vote of 4-0.
Motion? Oh, and second?
Schaefer.
Okay, I know we have some discussion.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
I was. Schaefer.
Thank you.
Discussion?
What I want
Yes.
to know from Clifford is, how is this going to affect the electrical grid servicing the entire neighborhood?
Well,
Since this is going to be a private solar farm.
So they made a request for a private solar farm. We actually put it under that classification because it exceeds the minimum requirements of the square footage for a personal solar farm. So they're going to be serving their own property, but it's larger than the allowed personal solar farm. If you look at the way our code is written, we identify the personal solar systems, and then we have the solar commercial systems, right? The personal solar systems, the way it's written in the zoning code, basically states it can only be up to, I believe, 100 square feet or no more than 10% of the property. In short, it was designed to be a house unit, put on the roof of the house, and not be a ground system. This is actually a ground system. It's closer to a commercial system, but it's going to be serving the property itself, but it's larger than the minimum allowed. So the short answer is, it's not going to impact the grid system, it's going to serve the property.
What about the issue of the solar, once it's all assembled and everything, what's gonna be the safety issue for it?
Well, absolutely, and that came up during the public hearing. If you remember during that meeting, that's another reason why staff requires it to be pulled out, because under a personal solar system, you do not have supplementary regulations that require a decommission plan. This requires a decommission plan as part of the permitting process. So it's built into that permit, so it will be decommissioned in accordance to that, and you don't get the graveyard of the solar panels. I think that's what I said during the meeting. We have protective measures in the permitting process to prevent that from being there after they're done using it.
And if I may, there seems to be a lot of questions around the environmental impact of these solar farms after, after that 25-year period. What is the remediation? What are we agreeing to as far as remediation and clearing these sites once the time is up?
Well, we can only follow the playbook of today and part of our supplementary regulations. Now, people know environmental regulations change. They can change tomorrow, right? We're following the guidance of the standards now to construct these. Short answer is they have no environmental impact. They have netting and protective measures to protect wildlife. But when it comes time to decommission it, it will be decommissioned in accordance to the environmental regulations of the time. We always talk grandfathering and zoning. That's not the case here because those will trump it as we go down the line.
Kent?
Cliff, are you suggesting that the decommission plan could change over time?
It could.
Currently, does the decommission plan require that the soil be removed and replaced?
It requires them to return the property to the previous state, which I would assume requires a soil compaction study to ensure it's stable to protect any future construction on the site.
Okay. And what about the possibility of leakage into the lakes?
There is always that possibility. It's part of the permitting process. As part of that process, you can require some supplementary documentation in the permitting process to have best management practices to prevent that. Now, look, I mean, things change. We can't ever guarantee, but all we can do at this point is follow the best management practices to protect the environment.
What would it take for us to have that in the plan itself in terms of that
You
leakage?
can condition that as part of the SUP. That's one of the beauties of SUP. It's a voluntary application, and you can always request additional measures to, if you feel you need to protect that property and the neighboring property. So you could make that a condition. Now, I don't know how detailed you can get with it. I mean, we're going to leave that up to the plan reviewers, right? There's experts that do it, and when they look at it as part of the permitting process, they'll request that information as they move forward.
I would be in favor of having that included in the plan.
Okay. Another question, Dennis?
Yes, I don't know that much about solar panels that we're talking, but what,
would assume any panel that's produced is produced to manufacturer's instructions. And it's like any other construction material, that it has to be environmentally friendly and safe. Now, is it the most friendly? I don't know if I have the answer to that, but it cannot be a detriment. It has to be environmentally safe, as you put it out as part of the best management practices. That's why you always hear when permits are issued, and this goes for like code departments, when you're a code official. I'm not a structural engineer, I don't know everything about everything, but that's why you hear the term a lot, per manufacturer's instructions, because those in a sense are certified by a third party when they come out of the factory to ensure that they meet those requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Yes,
There's one
Rafi?
follow-up. How often will there be an inspection? Since it's on private property, is it just gonna remain in operation until perpetuity or what?
Well, it comes like any other construction project. You inspect it when you build it. You inspect it to the current code. There's not really anything that sends us back out on a yearly basis to say, well, you need to double down on this. Now, there is property maintenance requirements. If they become, decommissioned or deteriorating, and we get a call and we get a complaint, you could always follow up and say, hey, that is not functioning properly. It's not in accordance to the property maintenance code. You need to address it. You need to fix it. And we need to address it like we would any other property maintenance violation in the city.
Carmen?
Are these gonna be in the ground, or,
They are. They're an array that's in the ground.
and
Yeah.
why are they not doing it on their individual buildings?
That actually wasn't asked. I think it's just because of the way the roofing systems are on the buildings and the layout, and they had a significant amount of vacant land to the rear of the property, and I think they thought that fit best for the model.
Any more questions? Yes, Kent?
I would like to make a motion to amend the SUP to require the additional safety measures as discussed in this meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none? We've got a motion on the floor that's been amended. We just vote on the amended motion.
First, it takes priority.
Okay.
You can do a voice vote if you want.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now are we moving on to
So now you have the
11B?
original motion, but it is as amended.
Okay, so we do it again.
You can do a voice vote on that as well.
Voice vote again.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Motion carried.
Okay, 11B5.
B507, March 25, Kenneth B. and Elizabeth Wyland, request for a use variance to allow for accessory temporary outdoor storage of vehicles on an unimproved lot at 2339 Old Collinsville Road, 08-14.0-105-029, located in the C2 Heavy Commercial District. Applicable sections of the zoning code, 162.247, 162.570, Ward 1. Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval subject to the identified conditions with a vote of 4-0.
Okay.
Motion to deny.
Schneider, second.
Okay. Any discussion? Yes.
Mayor, I'd just like to say, we heard from several of the surrounding businesses tonight. Over the past week or two, Alderperson Schneider and I have met with 12 different businesses that surround the area, heard from them, and the reports are all the same. We have some major issues that need to be rectified with this business before we make any further steps to try and expand. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Schneider?
Yes, I have some pictures, working on outside on the cars. I guess I need to submit them to the council or to upfront. And then I have a couple of questions. Outside. This is to
put those in the record.
And then on the original application back in 23, note, it's, all departments listed must submit approval, denial, or economic development planning and zoning office. And one thing that stood out is notes, no outdoor storage at this place, and that's what they're going for. And is the property currently compliant, or has it been compliant since we have been dealing with this renter? I drive by it all the time. It does not appear, and it is. How would we be able to police this situation? Our police department's overstaffed. They're not going to go by at the first of every month, see if those cars have moved, put a sticker on them, which ones have been there for 30 days or so. I mean, and if you have cars that are sitting there, some of them may have to sit for 60 or 90 days, because I think our court systems are very well backed up on small claims courts. So the cars that wouldn't be picked up because they don't have the money to pay for it, they're gonna have to go to small claims court to get the title and that into their names and that. So we have them sitting longer than 30 days. This is not, and I don't see how, well, I haven't checked for the dumpster. I know we have rules after the third complaint. They have to be enclosed with a certain container around them, concrete ramp for the trucks to come up on. So policing it would be very hard. Is it a good policy to allow people to fill them out and not have to be accountable for how they run their business after these applications have been filled out? If the business application has no outdoor storage, why are we approving outdoor storage? It is self-inflicted. It's just, that has been a nice corridor over there with the small little strip malls that there is. The car wash is very, you don't have to worry about going in there and being approached by homeless people wanting money and that, and them living in the bays. I go there a lot of times at 6 in the morning because it's convenient for me to get mine done, and I have never encountered any problems like you do some. Drove past some where you can see them, the homeless people living in the corners of the bays for shelter and that. So that's why we're saying no to this.
Any more discussion? Okay,
Mayor,
yes, Rafi.
I brought this up at zoning. We've got a situation that's similar to this, and it's at Foster Mechanical Service on 35th and West Main. When you drive by there,
Yeah, Rafi, I don't think it's on the agenda.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, we're not, we can't
not
discuss it
discussing
just because it's not,
sorry,
it's not this. You'll have to bring it up at another meeting.
okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Cliff,
Well, I didn't know if you wanted me to answer the questions. I mean, I can touch on them. I think what you're referring to is the commercial business occupancy application. Just to clarify, the applicant himself didn't write that in there. That's under the zoning comments. That was written under by staff and by our staff as part of the approval. Because when this original application came in, this was previously a auto-oriented business, but it fell under more of a quick lube, light use auto-oriented business that didn't require storage. So we were very clear that in the C2 underlying zoning district, you could not have the cars stored out there on a regular basis. Now, look, we're realists here. You bring a car in at 5 o'clock and you got 4 extra spaces and you're doing an oil change in the morning. If you park it at 5, do the oil change at 8 in the morning, and they pick it up at 10, and you don't take any additional required parking spaces or park it on the grass, we were comfortable with that. Obviously, you see why we were wanting to make sure we controlled the storage for a traditional full-service auto-oriented business. So that was put in there as based on the business model that was submitted. And we noted that because we felt like we needed to note that to make sure we didn't get the outdoor storage issue as part of the process.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? Hearing none, I think we're going to take a roll call vote on this.
So this is a motion to deny. A yes vote is to deny. A no vote is to not deny. Roll call, Duco,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
Ferguson,
Aye.
Anthony,
Aye.
Ovian,
Aye.
Dillman,
Aye.
Schaefer,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Rothweiler,
Aye.
Elmore,
Aye.
Weigant, Sullivan,
Aye.
Whitaker, Schneider.
Aye.
The motion to deny is approved.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we'll move on to communications. Garrett.
I got off easy on this one.
Yes, you did.
12A, Gateway East Artist Guild Facility Use Agreement with Gateway East Artist Guild for the use of 30 Public Square, Belleville, Illinois, April 8, 2025 through April 30th, 2025, and July 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2025.
Okay. Any,
So,
motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to remind you that in between there will be, Art on Square will be using the building in May and June. So, no petitions this evening and no resolutions. So now we'll move on to ordinances. Garrett?
Yes, could I get a motion to read ordinances 9370, 9371, 9372, and 9373 by title only?
So moved, Rothweiler.
Second, Randall.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Garrett?
Is it okay to read them together?
Yes.
15A, ordinance 9370-2025, a zoning ordinance in Ray case number 03-March 25, Daniel Comrie. 15B, ordinance 9371-2025, a zoning ordinance in Ray case 04-March 25, Timothy Richards / Belleville Elks Lodge 481. 15C, ordinance 9372-2025, a zoning ordinance in Ray case number 05, March 25, Straight Up Solar / Poor Sisters Monastery. 15D, ordinance 9373-2025, a zoning ordinance in Ray case number 06, March 25, City of Belleville.
Okay.
Ferguson.
Thank you. Were you
Steele.
first or second? First.
Duco.
Duco, second. Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
We need to do a roll call.
You want to roll call it? Okay. Go ahead.
Randall,
Aye.
Ferguson,
Aye.
Anthony,
Aye.
Ovian,
Aye.
Dillman, Schaefer,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Rothweiler, Elmore, Weigant, Sullivan,
Aye.
Whitaker,
Aye.
Schneider,
Aye.
Duco.
Aye.
And just for clarification, ordinance 9372-2025 is as amended.
Okay, thank you very much. We have no unfinished business this evening, so I'd like a motion to approve motor fuel claims in the amount of $39,326.09.
Rothweiler, so moved.
Schaefer, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Ferguson,
Aye.
Anthony,
Aye.
Ovian,
Aye.
Dillman, Schaefer,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Rothweiler, Elmore, Weigant, Sullivan,
Aye.
Whitaker, Schneider,
Aye.
Duco,
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you. And now we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending and/or probable imminent litigation, including civil and workers' compensation, 5 ILCS 120/2C11.
Randall, so moved.
Okay, who was first? Randall? And then Schneider. Okay, any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, if you would just step out for a moment. To approve a workers' compensation settlement in the amount of $27,140.02.
Randall, so moved.
Elmore?
Okay. We'll do a roll call vote. Any discussion? Any more discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call.
Anthony?
Aye.
Ovian?
Aye.
Dillman? Aye. Schaefer?
Aye.
Steele?
Aye.
Rothweiler? Aye. Elmore? Aye. Weigott? Aye. Sullivan?
Aye.
Whitaker?
Aye.
Schneider?
Aye.
Duco? Randall?
Aye.
Ferguson?
Aye.
Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now we need a motion. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Schneider?
Thank you so much. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.